Russia's war on Ukraine is now in its 10th month. In those first early months of the war, the siege of Mariupol became a symbol of Ukrainian resistance. Russian forces pounded the seaside city relentlessly with artillery and missile strikes. Ukrainian officials estimate 25,000 civilians were killed. Many of those who survived found refuge in the tunnels and shelters between the sprawling Azovstal steel plant. My next guest was among them. Anna Zaitseva and her baby son spent 2 months sheltering in that besieged plant. Her husband is still a prisoner of war. Ms. Zaitseva joined me in studio. Anna, I want to talk about your experience in Mariupol in a second, but first I want to know just how you're doing and how your baby boy is doing.
Oh, thank you a lot. He's doing well. He's currently in Berlin with my mom. We have decided to become refugees in Germany.
When did you arrive in Germany? Tell me about the path that got you there.
Oh, actually, we have arrived in Germany in the end of July, because till that time we were in Ukraine. We had a kind of revitalization because I was in the hospital, also because after the Azovstal steel plant work story, I had some problems with my health, and also baby had some problems, so that's why we have decided to stay a bit in Ukraine and after to move on to Germany.
So let's just talk a little bit about that. You talk about the Azovstal steel plant, which was a major steel plant in the city of Mariupol, and it became really used as a fortress during the Russian siege, and you and your family took refuge there. Just tell me what life was like when you decided to do that.
So we have decided to go to the Azovstal steel plant when it was 25th of February. My husband that time, he was a plant worker, and he told me that in this plant they have really very good shelters. These shelters, they were built in the time of Cold War, so in the Soviet time. We came there and we couldn't even imagine that it could, it could prolong so for 65 days. And we took with us only some kind of food, water, documents, baby formula, and for sure, without the help of Ukrainian soldiers, we couldn't survive there.
When you were in there, it was being bombarded by Russia, it was being attacked by Russia, there was low access to food. I mean, how did you keep hope in a situation like that?
Actually, we were bombarded by Russians constantly, every day, every minute and every hour, from ships, from rockets, and I have concussion also because actually our shelter was blocked. It was 25th of April. We were trying to be evacuated, and Russians, they just broke the ceasefire agreement and they put a rocket directly on our shelter. So that's why we were totally blocked there, and Ukrainian soldiers, they were digging us out. So actually we had no chance to be alive, but Ukrainian soldiers, they were sharing their own food, water, medicine, information, everything with us. And in such a way, we survived.
But you were in there with a baby. I mean, your son's about a year old now. I mean, how old was he then?
When we came to the shelter, my son was only 3 months old. And I didn't have baby formula, and I was also out of breast milk because of the stress and because lack of the food. So Ukrainian soldiers, they have found baby formula in half-bombed city of Mariupol in some kind of pharmacy, and they brought it to me, and in such a way, my son is right now alive.
How did you manage that you've got a newborn and you're under constant bombardment from Russian rockets and missiles and artillery fire?
Actually, for preparing, for example, a baby formula, I was using candles and I was using a metal cup. I was just taking a metal cup, putting it on the candle, and I was heating up it during 30 or 40 minutes. About bombardments, my baby was 65 days without any possibility to see the sun, to see the sky, to breathe fresh air, all the time underground, all the time in the shelter, because it was only the one option to stay alive. And also I was all the time putting my hands on the face of my baby because the color and the pieces of the cellar, they were falling down. So in order to protect him, I was putting my hands on his face. And even right now, he has such habit when he is trying to go to sleep. He wants my hands on his face because it's like a kind of a habit now.
Sorry, I've got two little boys, and I've never had to go through anything like even remotely close to that. I mean, how did you keep going? I mean, is it just knowing you got this baby to get out of there and get to safety?
You know, my son, actually, he's a great motivation for me. And he was motivating not me, but all other civil people who were there, and also other militaries who were coming to us. Actually, due to the ceasefire agreements which were provided by Ukrainian soldiers, by the negotiation process with the United Nations and the Red Cross, 30 of April, civil people, they were evacuated. But the problem was that nobody could imagine that in the Azovstal steel plant there are a lot of civil people, because Russians had such kind of narrative that only militaries, only Ukrainian militaries are there. But due to the press officer of the regiment of the Azov with the military name Orest, we were liberated because actually he made the interviews with civil people and he shown to the whole world that in such kind of shelters we have civil people, we have a lot of kids, and we want to be free, we want to be alive.
So you eventually, it was negotiated that you could leave. I remember the humanitarian corridors and for the surrender of the plant, some people were allowed to get out. And this is ultimately what led you to Germany. But it's just you and your son. Like, where's your husband right now?
My husband, actually, he's a military of Azov regiment, and he was badly injured when he was trying to defend Mariupol city. And right now, unfortunately, he's in captivity. Like other thousands of defenders of Mariupol, it's already 6 months that I don't have any connection with him. I don't know where he is. I don't know if he has an access to food, water, medicine. I don't know if he's tortured or not. So that's why right now I'm trying to negotiate with the politics of different countries in order to liberate our really brave defenders. Because they saved my life, they saved life of thousands of Mariupol citizens.
When is the last time you spoke to him?
It was in May.
In May, and no word since then?
No, nothing.
One day, you know, your little boy is one. One day he's going to grow up and you're going to probably talk to him about this. I mean, how are you going to explain the first year of his life being underground in a bomb shelter in a steel plant under Russian bombardment? How do you talk to him about this?
Oh, actually, for sure, I will tell him all this story. But firstly, I will tell him everything like a kind of fairy tale, you know. And when he grows up, I think his father will tell him everything, because I'm sure that I will see again my husband.
Okay, Anna, I hope your family is reunited soon. Thank you so much for telling us your story.
Thank you.